My wife, she's on the floor. She's not moving. The voice belongs to George Tiaffay, a firefighter, trained for emergencies. But this sounds different. He says the garage door was open. He says he walked in with his daughter. Then he stops. She's cold. Silence fills the line. Dispatch listens closely, because something about the way George speaks doesn't fully match the moment. And right here, something feels off. You won't believe what happens next, because this call isn't just a discovery, it's the beginning of a story that gets darker with every single step forward. Just hours earlier, Shauna Tiaffay walked out of the Palms Casino. It was 3:01 a.m., another long shift. She looked tired, but calm. No fear, no rush. She gets into her car and drives home like she always does. The streets are quiet, empty, nothing unusual. Nothing follows her, nothing stops her. Everything feels normal, but timing is everything. Because while Shauna is driving home, someone else is already thinking about that exact moment, already waiting, already prepared. And what happens next changes everything. Shauna Tiaffay pulls into her garage. She steps out, walks inside. No lights, no hesitation. She's done this 100 times before. The house is quiet, too quiet. She moves forward. Then, something shifts. Not a sound, not a warning, just a presence. Hidden, close, watching. Shauna doesn't see it. She keeps walking. One more step, and that's all it takes. Because in that exact moment, everything changes. Violently, instantly. And what was waiting for her was already in position. Morning comes, but inside the house, nothing has changed. Until George Tiaffay walks in. He says the garage door was open. He says something felt wrong. Then he sees her, on the floor, still, covered in blood. He calls 911, says the words, plays the part. But investigators arrive, and something immediately stands out. This doesn't look rushed. It doesn't look chaotic. It looks controlled, deliberate. And that raises a dangerous question, because scenes like this don't happen by accident. Then detectives uncover something strange. Weeks before this, Shauna Tiaffay's home had already been entered. Not forced, not random. Items were taken. But something was also left behind. That detail lingers. At the time, it didn't make sense. Now, it matters. A lot. Investigators revisit everything, every report, every detail. And then, a man walks in. His name is William Big Will Penix. What he says changes the case instantly. He claims someone confessed to killing a woman. And from this point on, nothing stays simple. That confession leads police to Noel Stevens, a drifter, living far from the city. They bring him in. He denies everything, says nothing, shows nothing. But detectives don't stop. They search where he's been staying, miles of empty land. Then, they find something, hidden, clothing, stained, tested, confirmed. It belongs to Shauna Tiaffay. Everything shifts. Now Noel starts talking, and what he says matches the scene perfectly, too perfectly. But one question remains. Why Shauna? Detectives dig into Noel Stevens' phone, looking for answers, looking for connections. Then they find it, a number, called again and again and again, 87 times. That number belongs to George Tiaffay, the same man who made the 911 call, the same man who found the body. Now everything changes. This is no longer separate. This is connected, directly. And suddenly, the husband is no longer just part of the story. He's at the center of it. And this connection opens a door no one expected. Investigators go deeper. They uncover more contact between George Tiaffay and Noel Stevens. Not random, consistent, intentional. Then comes surveillance footage, a hardware store, two men together, George and Noel, walking side by side, buying tools. Normal on the surface, but now it means something else. Because those items match what was used. Every piece begins to connect. The calls, the timing, the access. It's forming a pattern, a clear one, and once seen, it cannot be ignored. Money is where everything changes in this case. George Tiaffay was facing serious financial pressure after losses tied to the Great Recession. At the same time, his marriage to Shauna Tiaffay was collapsing. They were separated, arguing constantly, especially about finances and control. Divorce meant losing more money and splitting everything they had. Investigators believe George saw that outcome as unacceptable. Instead of accepting the financial consequences, prosecutors say he looked for another path, one that removed Shauna from the equation completely. That decision would later connect him to Noel Stevens and change everything about the case. Investigators lay everything out, the earlier break-in, the phone calls, the footage. It all points in one direction. They present this to George Tiaffay's family. Then something happens. George gets a call. Minutes later, he leaves, drops off his daughter, gets in his truck, drives fast, too fast, 90 miles per hour, straight ahead, no brakes, no hesitation. Impact. He survives. But now, there's no turning back, because actions like that don't go unnoticed. In court, everything is revealed, step by step, detail by detail. Noel Stevens takes the stand, and he speaks about the plan, the calls, the instructions. Then comes the question, who told you to do it? He answers, George. The room goes still. The evidence follows. It all connects. Clean, direct, complete. The verdict? Guilty. George Tiaffay is sentenced to life. And just like that, the man who made the call becomes the reason it happened. A home, a marriage, a life destroyed from the inside. And that truth never leaves.